Today on the show, we're talking about how the city's budget proposal is out and pandemic relief money is gone. But Mayor Sherrell Parker's got some new funding plans. Plus, food delivery robots hit the streets, and Philly's nightlife is about to get more inclusive. It's Monday, March 16th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me is senior producer Abby Fritz. Hey, Abby.
Good morning, Trenae.
Before we get into the budget analysis, Mayor Sherrell Parker started her speech by being really honest about a conversation she had with her son and how she gets nervous when she makes these big, budget addresses. And she thanked her family for raising her, which is something that we often hear her talk about. She always gives respect to them. And she also opened her speech talking about the city's need for hope and opportunities.
I saw a clip this morning from a lady we are all familiar with by the name of Donna Brazile. She was in Philadelphia talking about the state of political affairs in our nation. And she said most prominently that we suffered from a hope deficit in our nation, that Americans needed a sense of hope. So I thought long and hard about Donna Brazile's comments, and then my friend and brother Mungu Sanchez came to mind, and him always saying to me that hope is important, but don't forget that hope doesn't buy bread, eggs, milk, and cheese. People need access to opportunity so that they can feel the hope, pride, and inspiration.
So listen, this is me speaking as a Black woman, a mother, and a Philadelphian, very similar to Mayor Parker. When I think about just where we are as a city and maybe even a nation, there's just been so much to manage and discuss, as we have on the show and in the newsletter. But life is so heavy, and I always think about just the responsibilities I have, during the day-to-day, but the weight that the role of mayor is and must be. And I don't always agree with every decision that the administration makes, but I try to understand. Our political contributor, Lauren Vitas, said if the solutions to problems were easy, we would have already solved them, but it's not. And so I think a lot of times it is so easy to be like, oh, y'all should have did this, y'all should have did that. That's not how I would have done it. But being a mayor of a major U.S. city, it is not easy.
Yeah.
We do still want to make sure that we speak truth to power, and we, make sure that the city is accountable for handling the necessary things of running the city. But it is very, I feel like it's just been heavy.
Yeah, I agree. And I think something that you mentioned last week on Friday, and that after sleeping on this budget, I've been thinking about a lot, is just that there's some unknowns that the city is trying to think about in advance, but that we might not be able to plan for, which specifically surrounds federal funding and the federal government. The uncertainty about what could get funded, what could not get funded, if there's going to be specific things that get cut. It's just really stressful to have to navigate not only all the logistics of a budget just normally, and then on top of it, maybe getting the rug pulled out from under you,
Right. And part of that uncertainty is because the COVID relief money is gone. Here's Mayor Parker.
You'll remember it as that $1.4 billion in COVID relief money. Those ARPA dollars, Philadelphia, they're gone. Despite that fact, I want you to know we'll meet our obligations as we always do. As mayor of this city, I will never allow anyone or anything to compromise our fiscal stability, because we can't address all of the major issues that are impacting our city if we don't have access to revenue to do it.
Very interesting. And let's not forget, though, about last summer's strike among District 33, and that's the nearly 9,000 city workers who are fighting for increases in pay and other benefits, and the debate over those workers wanting to not just get by in the city, but thrive in the city. And the response from the Parker administration was pretty much the same. She didn't want to, in her words, compromise the fiscal stability of the city. That kind of at times rubbed people the wrong way, because it's kind of like, well, people want to get paid.
Yeah.
People want to not just, make minimum wage all the time and just skirt by. They want to thrive, and they want to buy homes, and they want to just feel more secure in Philly.
Totally. And I think like that goes back to too, like the city has been dealing with poverty for a long time, and people making less money, that is less tax revenue the city gets, because, when people are making money, they buy things and they buy houses and they go out to eat and they want to go on trips. Like it reinvests itself. But also in this conversation about like federal funding, I think about like Philly is a city of meds and eds, and all of those institutions get so much federal funding as well. So like if Penn or Drexel has federal money for research projects that gets cut, or a university has federal funding pulled, that means less money for these institutions to spend in the city, and people will lose their jobs if they don't have these projects to do. So it's like it just keeps going in terms of how, federal funding can impact Philadelphia specifically.
And we saw Mayor Parker talk about some of the different proposals that she has to get some more money flowing in the city. Now, it is no surprise to any Philadelphian who drives in the city, rides a bike, pushes a baby stroller, or takes a bumpy ride on SEPTA. We have a pothole and a sinkhole problem in the city. And there is a lot of wear and tear on the roads. Parker's got a plan on how to fix it. The Pothole Squad.
I am proposing a $7.1 million investment to launch what has never existed in our city before. And that is what I am referencing as our One Philly Pothole Squad. We need a pothole squad in the city of Philadelphia. Somebody's going to say, did she just get all excited about potholes? And what I'm going to say is that until you've had to go and get your shocks or your car serviced because you hit a pothole, you don't know how serious an issue this is in the city of Philadelphia.
It's really interesting. She plans to fund this pothole squad by increasing an existing tax. So she's proposing a tax for big retailers that are based outside of Philadelphia and they deliver things to the city. It's a 25-cent tax per order. Now, there are some exclusions on things like food, baby products, medical devices, things like that. And also, if it's like a smaller business, so any businesses that have done less than 100,000 transactions would also be exempt. The example the city gave for this was like, okay, if I order a toaster online from like a big website and it gets delivered to my house, that would have 25 cents tacked on it to go to the city. Someone asked if it was like basically an Amazon tax. And the city was like, well, we're not going to say that. But I do think that is kind of a good way to describe it. This would have to get approved by the state, so it might get held up in Harrisburg. That's something we'd have to wait to see.
I mean, it's really because these delivery drivers and their vehicles are using our streets, a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is a good idea. The tax is not going to be on the consumer, but on the company. So like, I want that to be clear.
Yeah.
It's not us having to pay for it. However, I do believe that possibly we would have to pay because I feel like the prices of stuff would increase.
Yeah. Like the companies could just like up the price by 25 cents on anything that could be taxed.
If I want a pair of shoes like today, I'm definitely going to pay the price.
Yeah.
Now, I felt like some of the ideas that she had may not have gone far enough. For example, she did bring up a need to focus on environmental justice. So she's got an idea to add more trees to the tree canopy in Cobbs Creek and Tacony neighborhoods. And again, the idea of this is that more trees, it'll help cool down our neighborhoods. And there is research to support that with tree canopies. It's also a reduction in crime.
Yeah.
However, I just thought, okay, well, if you're going to do that type of environmental justice, what about the environmental justice when it involves our trash and the trash burning that we do as a city over in Chester?
Yep.
We talked about that with council member Jamie Gauthier about that particular issue. So I thought about that. I thought about how we are also dealing with the school board that is still unpacking the district's plan to close 18 schools and just what this has meant for the generational underfunding of Philly public schools and how that impacts our communities, how it impacts students and teachers. And so there was a plan for how to kind of bring in more money for that. But does it go far enough?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because, I mean, she's proposing a tax on rideshare rides, essentially. She's calling it the network company tax. It's going to be 20 cents per ride. So it wouldn't start until next year. Will 20 cents on every single Uber ride in Philadelphia save our public schools? I don't know. TBD. But it's good to see that she's thinking about it. And it's good to see that it's top of mind, especially as we're actively discussing with the school district about the closures that are going to come up in 2027.
Yeah, for sure.
Something else related to education that caught my ear as someone with a good amount of student loans. The mayor is proposing putting $850,000 towards a student loan help center. And she also specifically mentioned too that she wanted to do this because she wants to address holes that are maybe happening in federal funding and programs. And she knows many people in Philadelphia are affected. Many people in Philadelphia are living with student loans, and this would be a way to help people figure out what they could do about that. She's definitely interested in creating new things. She loves to put one Philly, blah, 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 something on it. And something she did a lot of creating on in this budget was apps. We heard about a couple of them.
Yes, it was so many apps. I was like, another app? Another app?
Yeah. I don't know. They've got someone who likes to code in City Hall now or something.
You need an app just to navigate the apps.
Yeah, there was two, right? So there's the One Philly Economic GPS, right? That's meant to let Philadelphians in on how we're doing economically. And then there's Access Philly app, which is basically for all of the events happening this year in 2026. It's a event discovery tool meant to be for visitors.
Abby, you know how I feel about this. Okay, cool. But will this app give a visitor access to maybe some local curators, okay? And people like CityCast Philly.
Yeah.
There's so many content creators and influencers and folks in the communities that run events all the time.
Yeah.
Don't just emphasize the events that are just connected to this year.
Totally.
Some people's livelihoods are connected to this. Small businesses are connected to this. So hopefully there are ways so that the community can get their community celebrations and events in on this app as well.
Yeah, they need some deep cuts, not just FIFA World Cup. I think anybody who flew into Philadelphia during the FIFA World Cup probably knows that it's happening.
Yeah.
But I hear you. Because also, I mean, our tax dollars are creating this tool for visitors, which we love to see visitors. We love to see people coming in and spending their money here. That's great. But, if you don't expand it, if you don't make it a community resource beyond just 2026, personally, I think we have other things to worry about.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk more about this over the next few months. Just be ready because we are in budget season and city council will have to make their deadline to approve this budget like early June. If you have opinions just like we do, Mayor Parker will be doing some neighborhood budget town halls. So that's another way that you can get active, let your voice be heard, let your ideas be known for how to make the city a little bit better. All right, we've got more news after the break.
Trenae, have you seen the new delivery robots out in Center City?
Yes, I did. I saw one on 4th and Arch Streets. It was interesting because I saw a box on wheels moving, and so many people were taking pictures of it and just like whispering to themselves, like, look at it, look. But it was interesting to see how intuitive it was around humans, because it would like kind of like hesitate a little bit before it moved onto the next curb. So it's obviously detecting humans or any other objects near it.
That's so interesting. I mean, I'm glad. I'd hope if it's making deliveries, it can detect humans. So this is like a new thing coming out of Uber Eats. They're like 3-foot robots. They go up to 5 miles per hour. That kind of feels like the size of a child to me. I feel like if I'm on my phone walking around, I might trip on them, but I don't know. I might just be
I don't know.
clumsy.
I don't think you'll trip over because it's very obvious. It is a box on wheels. It looks like it's basically a suitcase that's got your pizza delivery inside.
So it's reacting to people, but how are people reacting to it? What did you observe out there?
That's a good question. I think when it was on 4th and Arch, I mean, like that area, you're getting like professionals, you're getting like tourists. So I think people are probably like, oh, look at that. That's what I noticed. But think about Philadelphia, okay?
Yeah.
Let's get real.
Yep.
If I don't even know what they're calling this little box, but if the box rolls by a bunch of drunk Eagles fans, they are going to tear it up. Let's just be honest.
Especially if there's
right?
pizza in there.
Right?
I mean, like, I don't know if we can peacefully coexist. I mean, like, look what we did to the portal. That didn't even move. And it was giant. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people still found a way to tear the copper wires out of it. So it's like, you know what I mean?
And just like people in general, they're going to mess with it.
Yeah. They do have some limitations. It only holds up to 55 pounds, which I don't think I've ever had a food delivery order that was 55 pounds. But I mean,
that's a lot of French fries.
That's a lot. But the real kicker is it can only travel like up to 2 miles for deliveries.
Okay, like a 2-mile radius?
Yeah. So like wherever it picks up the food, it can go 2 miles from there to deliver it. So you're really only going to be seeing these, at least right now, in Center City because all the restaurants that have like signed on to be a part of this are in that area. The company did say they could be expanding to other neighborhoods soon, but they didn't give like a timeline at all of when that would happen. But for now, if you're interested in getting your food delivered by one of these robots, you can place an order in Center City between 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. And you could see the option of an autonomous delivery. And then you can like track the robot. It'll you go on the little app and then its hatch on the back will open, which will hold your delivery. So, I mean, it's out there. It's happening.
I mean, listen, I think I would get on board with the technology because I remember traveling to visit a friend of mine in San Francisco and taking a Lyft for the first time. And I was what? Like, you want me to go get a ride to the airport in a stranger's car that's not like a certified taxi cab? Like, are you sure? Is it safe?
Exactly.
But the ongoing debate with adding robots into the world is, will this form of food delivery, for example, take away jobs from humans?
Yeah. You know, the food delivery people that I see around a lot now are on bikes. You can tell they do this all the time. They're zooming. They know what they're doing. They know the best routes. Like, they have a system, right? And they're intuitive because they're humans and they're able to react and like, oh, there's a bunch of people on the sidewalk, I'm gonna go around, right? So, you know, I don't know. They do have some safety measures built into them. So like there are real people like of monitoring on call, whatever. So like the robot can alert for like trouble, like whatever. And then like a remote supervisor will like take over.
So you still need a human.
So you still need a human, and
Okay.
and it will like navigate it to a quote unquote secure location, which I have no idea what that means. I think there could be some issues, but it's still early on in the development. It's only launched in 4 cities: Dallas, Austin, Jersey City, and now Philly. So maybe it will get better over the years.
Okay. Well, as new technology is coming into the city, we are also getting a new bar.
Yeah, this is a big deal. Specifically, it's a lesbian bar that's coming to Philadelphia, and there's just not a lot of lesbian bars in the country. That might even be an understatement. I think right now the count from the Lesbian Bar Project is that there's 36 in the entirety of the US. There used to be a couple in Philly. There was one called the Toasted Walnut. It was open for 5 years and it closed in 2021. Before that, there was Sisters, which was open for 17 years and it closed really suddenly in 2013. That was in the Frankie Bradley's spot. It's now Frankie Bradley's. So there's just like a real lack of these spaces, both in the country, but also in Philly. So now we're going to see one.
Okay, so the new bar is called Val's Lesbian Bar, and it's opening this week.
Yeah, they announced last Wednesday on Instagram that the doors are going to officially be opening on Wednesday, the 18th, at their permanent location just off of South Street on 3rd.
Oh, that's pretty close to Marsha's.
Yeah. We talked to Marsha's last August. That's the queer-owned women's sports bar at 4th and South. And they became the city's first ever women's sports bar, which was really cool. It was really cool to talk to
It was a big
Siobhan.
deal, a big deal. I remember when they opened, like there was a line wrapped around the building. People were just so pumped to go in, hang out,
Yes.
watch some sports, drink some beer, and eat some food.
It's still crowded all the time. Literally, anytime I try to go to Marsha's, it's crowded, which I'm happy for them. That's awesome. Isn't there another women's sports bar coming to Philly in the spring as well?
It's not a sports bar. It is
Oh.
kind of like a hub. It's called the
Oh.
Stoop Pigeon.
Okay.
This is also kind of designed as a place to be like a watch party place. The place where you go to watch big games. Like I can imagine a lot of different like parties and events are going to be happening during the FIFA World Cup. This is located on Broad and Pine Streets.
Yeah, and that's from the people behind Watch Party PHL, which was doing women's sports watch parties all over the city. My rugby team did an event with them. Jen Leary, who is one of the heads of the organization, is super cool. And I see their merch a lot, honestly. Have you seen the like Philly is a women's sports town?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's from them. So that's all coming out of the Stoop Pigeon or Watch Party PHL.
I like it.
Yeah.
I am a former athlete, now coach, and I'm raising my daughter to be an athlete in various sports. And so it is really cool to have all of these different like variety of spaces where women, where having like queer owned spaces. I think it is nice to kind of like break these barriers and give different options for people. You may not be someone who wants to be around alcohol. So maybe you go to the Stoop Pigeon. Maybe you're looking for a way to get into rugby or field hockey or tennis or squash or whatever. And you meet folks at the bars.
Yeah, totally.
I think it is overall such a great asset to the city. And I'm excited to see all of the great things that come out of these places.
For sure. And Val's is definitely going to be a part of that. I've never had so many people DM me or text me like the exact same flyer in my life as when they like dropped it on Instagram that they're officially opening. Because I mean, there has been a lot of drama getting here, I will say. This has been years
opening Val's, you mean?
opening Val's. Yes. I know it's really hard to be a business owner anywhere, but food service is particularly hard, and running bars, especially with like PA's liquor laws, is even worse. So I know the couple who is behind Val's, like I think this is their first business that they're running, and they started doing pop-ups in like 2024, just trying to figure out and raise money to create this space. They were asking the community for micro grants, and we're like super active on socials. I went to a couple of those events and they were like wall to wall. It was packed. Everybody really, really wanted to see this space open. And then in August of 2024, they went literally completely dark. They were like, hey, we're taking a little break. And everybody was like, doesn't seem like Val's is actually going to pan out. But then they announced...
But you got to trust the process, Abby.
You do. I'm just a cynic, I think. But in January, they announced, they're like, hey guys, sorry, we're here. We swear we're going to open soon. And then last Wednesday was when they made the official announcement that they're doing their hard launch this Wednesday. They had an event on Valentine's Day. They also did a soft opening on Thursday for like a day. Everything has been super packed, and I'm definitely going to check it out this week. I'm really excited to like welcome Val's into the Philly community.
Abby, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Monday News Roundup.
Thanks for having me, Trenae.
You can read more about all the stories we've been talking about in the show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. And don't forget, you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Philly neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.